Did you know that there's a watch brand that literally rejected Drake when he tried to buy one of their product? And there's a tailor in London who told Diddy the waiting list is 18 months minimum, and that's if they even accept you as a client. We're talking about luxury brands so exclusive that even having $100 million sitting in your account does not guarantee you access. You need royal bloodlines, personal referrals from existing clients, or proof that you actually understand what real wealth looks like beyond flexing on Instagram. Let's expose the 15 luxury labels only Black billionaires and mega celebrities actually know exist. Number 15. Goyard. The $100,000 trunks with zero online presence. Let's start with Goyard, because their entire business model is basically the opposite of how luxury brands operate in 2026. Founded in Paris back in 1853, this house has been serving the world's elite, from Rockefellers to European aristocracy, for over 170 years, and they still flat out refuse to build a website, run advertising campaigns, or do anything that resembles modern marketing. Their signature hand-painted chevron Y pattern appears on trunks and handbags starting around $2,000 for basic entry pieces. But the prices climb rapidly into six figures once you start commissioning bespoke trunk creations custom-made to your exact specifications. Beyoncé's been photographed carrying Goyard totes multiple times, and the appeal is exactly what the brand represents. Luxury that genuinely values privacy and discretion over social media, validation, and influencer partnerships. Here's what separates Goyard from Louis Vuitton or even Hermès. You genuinely can't just walk into a boutique with money and buy their best pieces. The truly exclusive items require establishing personal relationships with specific boutique managers over years, building enough trust that they'll actually show you what's available beyond the standard display cases that regular wealthy people see. This is understated Parisian elegance that immediately signals to people who actually know luxury that you're operating in circles where discretion matters infinitely more than recognition. When you spot someone carrying a well-worn Goyard bag, you know they understand that real luxury doesn't need to announce itself to strangers. And while all that sounds impressive, here's what happens when a watch costs over $1 million and tennis players actually wear it during Grand Slam matches. Number 14. Richard Mille. $1 million. Watches that survive 10,000 Gs of force. Richard Mille doesn't make watches in the traditional sense. They create wearable engineering achievements using aerospace-grade materials and Formula One racing technology, with entry-level pieces starting around $80,000 and complicated models routinely exceeding $1 million. But here's the insane part that most people don't understand. Rafael Nadal famously wears a Richard Mille worth over $1 million on his wrist while competing in Grand Slam tennis finals because the watch can withstand more than 10,000 Gs of force without affecting its accuracy even slightly. That's not jewelry you're protecting in a safe. That's technical mastery costing more than most people's houses, designed to survive conditions that would destroy every other luxury watch brand. Pharrell Williams owns multiple Richard Milles and frequently wears them in music videos and performances, and the brand's massive appeal among Black celebrities and professional athletes stems from the watches being genuinely innovative rather than just outrageously expensive. These timepieces incorporate materials like carbon TPT, graphene composites, and titanium aluminide alloys that sound like they belong on spacecraft because that's essentially what they are: space-age materials applied to watchmaking. For the ultra-wealthy, wearing a Richard Mille serves as proof that you're operating in an elite circle that values genuine innovation and extreme exclusivity over traditional Swiss watchmaking heritage. It's the watch you buy when Rolex and even Patek Philippe feel too common and accessible, when you need something that even other rich people immediately recognize as operating on a completely different level. The brand produces maybe 5,000 watches annually worldwide, and getting access to the most exclusive models requires relationships with authorized dealers built over years of purchasing history. That's absolutely mental, right? But wait till you hear how this next brand sources natural materials so rare they're only available once every 3 years. Number 13. Loro Piana. $20,000 jackets from fibers you can't even pronounce. Loro Piana radiates wealth so quietly and confidently that only insiders who actually understand luxury can recognize what you're wearing. The Italian brand sources literally the rarest natural fibers available anywhere on Earth. Vicuña wool gathered once every 3 years from wild animals living in the Andes Mountains, and baby cashmere harvested only once in a goat's entire lifetime during a specific brief window. A single Loro Piana jacket can easily cost $20,000 or more depending on the specific material and construction. But the true value isn't just the price tag, it's the quiet, understated sophistication that only people genuinely immersed in luxury culture can properly recognize and appreciate. You won't see any loud branding, flashy visible patterns, or anything remotely designed for Instagram photo opportunities and social media flexing. This is exactly what Jay-Z wears when he's not trying to impress anyone or make statements. Just supremely comfortable, impossibly soft garments made from materials most people have genuinely never heard of and can't even pronounce correctly. Loro Piana functions as the unofficial uniform of both old money families and new tech billionaires who've reached the level where they understand that true luxury doesn't need logos or brand recognition to validate itself. The brand's entire appeal is rooted in its deliberate restraint and refusal to chase trends or visibility. When you see someone dressed head to toe in Loro Piana pieces, you immediately know they're wealthy enough that they don't need to prove anything to anyone walking past them on the street. $20,000 jackets made from vicuña wool harvested once every 3 years. Insane materials. Now imagine jewelry that looks delicate as lace, except it's entirely crafted from solid gold. Number 12. Buccellati, $50,000 earrings that look like woven fabric. Buccellati is an Italian jewelry house creating pieces that appear impossibly delicate, almost like intricate lace or finely woven fabric. Except when you look closer, you realize they're entirely crafted from solid gold using a honeycomb engraving technique called tulle that can take literal months of continuous handwork to complete properly. A relatively simple pair of Buccellati earrings might cost $50,000, while custom-commissioned statement pieces featuring complex designs and precious stones can climb into the millions depending on specifications and materials involved. When Rihanna or Beyoncé need something for a major awards show or album release event that absolutely nobody else in the world will be wearing, Buccellati is exactly where they turn for one-of-one creations. The brand's signature tulle technique creates textile-like patterns in solid precious metals that look genuinely impossible when you examine them up close, because they essentially are impossible to replicate by machines or mass production. Each significant piece requires master goldsmiths trained for decades in specialized techniques passed down carefully through generations of Italian artisans, and the intricate work absolutely cannot be rushed or automated without completely destroying the quality and detail. This is jewelry as legitimate wearable art designed for people who've already owned every possible Cartier piece, every Tiffany collection, every Van Cleef & Arpels set, and genuinely need something that makes other wealthy people stop and ask with genuine curiosity, where did you even find that? The answer itself becomes a status signal. You're operating at a level where custom Italian craftsmanship and months-long creation processes matter infinitely more than brand name recognition or logo visibility. Next up, we have a brand where bespoke tailoring gets so obsessively exclusive they literally only produce 50 suits per year. Number 11. Kiton, $50,000 suits with 50 hours of hand stitching. True tailoring connoisseurs know the Kiton name extremely well, but that's about it. Based in Naples, Italy, the brand produces only about 20,000 total suits annually across all their lines, with each individual garment requiring over 25 hours of meticulous hand stitching by master tailors trained for years. But here's where Kiton's exclusivity reaches truly absurd levels. Their ultra-premium K50 line creates exactly 50 suits per year total, just 50 across the entire planet, with each one taking more than 50 hours of concentrated handwork and costing upward of $50,000 before any customizations or premium fabric selections. There are absolutely no logos visible anywhere on these suits, just unmistakable craftsmanship quality that other people who wear bespoke tailoring recognize immediately just from how the fabric drapes and moves. Denzel Washington has worn Kiton suits to major Hollywood events and award shows, and the brand's appeal is rooted in exactly what it refuses to do. There's no visible branding, no flashy contrasting linings, nothing remotely screaming for attention or validation. Just absolutely impeccable construction using the finest Italian and English fabrics available anywhere. cut and sewn entirely by hand using traditional techniques refined carefully over multiple generations. The exclusivity operates on knowledge rather than logos, which is exactly how old money has always functioned. Now picture a luxury brand where the absolute best pieces never even reach retail stores. They're revealed exclusively in private appointment-only showrooms. Number 10. Bottega Veneta. The secret pieces nobody sees. You might recognize Bottega Veneta's signature intrecciato woven leather pattern from their bags and accessories, but the real exclusivity happens entirely behind closed doors in special appointment-only private rooms reserved exclusively for long-standing established clients who've built relationships over years. Their absolute most sought-after pieces, the bags and accessories that celebrities and billionaires actually want, aren't sitting on public display shelves where just anyone walking in can see them. They're revealed privately and discreetly to specific clients who've established personal relationships with boutique managers, often featuring extremely rare exotic leathers and completely custom configurations that remain unavailable to the general public regardless of how much money they're willing to spend. Kanye West famously championed Bottega Veneta heavily during his minimalist fashion evolution phase, and the brand perfectly represents the ultimate stealth wealth aesthetic. Absolutely no visible logos anywhere, just impeccable Italian leather craftsmanship executed in understated designs that quietly signal you don't need external validation or attention from strangers. The entire point is being recognized by people who matter while remaining invisible to everyone else. The brand's massive appeal among the ultra-wealthy is rooted exactly in its deliberate restraint and carefully guarded exclusivity. When you're carrying a genuinely rare Bottega Veneta piece from their private client collections, other wealthy people who understand luxury recognize it immediately based on the leather quality and construction details, while everyone else just sees a nice leather bag without understanding its significance. That intentional separation between insiders and outsiders is precisely the entire point of the brand's philosophy. So, secret collections revealed only in private showrooms to vetted clients. That's VIP gatekeeping. But what happens when a brand pays artisans above-average wages in a restored Italian village and reserves their best pieces for select customers? Number 9. Brunello Cucinelli, the $10,000 cashmere made by happy workers. Brunello Cucinelli is often called the philosopher of cashmere because he genuinely built an entire fashion empire centered on ethics, exceptional craftsmanship, and treating workers with actual dignity and respect, which somehow makes his already expensive clothes even more expensive, but that's exactly the appeal for conscious consumers. Every single garment bearing the Cucinelli name is produced exclusively in his carefully restored medieval village in Solomeo, Umbria, where artisans earn significantly above average Italian wages and work in genuinely beautiful conditions with extensive breaks and cultural programs. Entry-level cashmere sweaters start around $2,000, while the absolute most exclusive pieces never reach public retail stores at all. They're reserved exclusively for select VIP clients who've built relationships with the brand. This is the unofficial uniform of Silicon Valley tech billionaires and old-money European families who genuinely value sustainability and ethical production alongside supreme quality. Barack Obama's been photographed wearing Brunello Cucinelli cashmere multiple times, and the brand's appeal comes from the unique combination of supreme material quality and ethical production processes that lets extremely wealthy people feel genuinely good about spending $5,000 on a single sweater. And now, buckle up for a brand that only produces 1,000 pieces annually and requires personal recommendations just to join the waiting list. Number 8. FP Journe, the watchmaker. Serious collectors worship. To people who view timepieces as investment-grade mechanical art rather than just expensive accessories, FP Journe is absolutely sacred. The independent Swiss brand produces fewer than 1,000 total watches per year across all models, with each individual timepiece featuring movements crafted entirely from solid 18-karat gold rather than the brass alloys most luxury watch manufacturers use. Prices begin around $25,000 for entry-level pieces and climb easily into 7 figures for complicated models featuring multiple functions. There are multi-year waiting lists for popular references, and new potential clients often need personal recommendations from existing FP Journe owners before they're even allowed to join official waitlists. This represents the complete opposite of mass-market luxury. This is artisanal watchmaking at its most exclusive and uncompromising. John Mayer, who's a legitimately serious watch collector beyond just being a famous musician, owns multiple FP Journe pieces and has publicly called them some of the finest watches ever created by human hands. The brand's founder, François-Paul Journe, is a living legend in horology circles, and owning one of his watches signals you're deeply invested in watch collecting culture beyond just buying the most expensive Rolexes you can find. This is what you eventually graduate to after you've owned every mainstream luxury watch brand and genuinely need something that other serious collectors respect for technical innovation and finishing quality rather than just brand prestige or price tag. FP Journe watches appreciate significantly in value on the secondary market because demand vastly exceeds the tiny production numbers, making them legitimate investment pieces alongside being exceptional timepieces. But as interesting as this sounds, our next heritage brand has been dressing European kings and heads of state since 1838. Number 7. Charvet, $550. Bespoke shirts requiring 30 measurements. Since 1838, Charvet has been dressing kings, presidents, prime ministers, and heads of state from their single historic location on Paris's prestigious Place Vendôme. A fully bespoke Charvet shirt requires 30 individual body measurements taken by master fitters, approximately 6 months of production work, and starts around $550 per shirt before any premium fabric selections. But here's where it gets truly exclusive. Some long-standing clients actually commission entirely exclusive fabrics woven specifically for them that will never be repeated or offered to anyone else. A level of genuine personalization that only old-world European luxury houses can possibly provide. This isn't fast fashion or even slow fashion. This is generational tailoring where your personal pattern book gets carefully updated and refined across literal decades. The brand's historical client list reads like a who's who of 20th century power: Winston Churchill, John F. Kennedy, Charles de Gaulle, countless European royals and aristocrats. Modern clients include current heads of state and billionaires who genuinely understand that true luxury is having dress shirts cut specifically to your exact body using techniques refined carefully over nearly 2 centuries of continuous operation. When you wear Charvet, you're actively participating in a tailoring tradition that predates almost every luxury brand people recognize today by decades or even centuries. That heritage and continuity is the ultimate status symbol. Luxury that your great-grandfather could have accessed and your great-grandson will still be able to access, assuming the family maintains the relationship and standards. Next up, let's meet a French trunk maker founded in 1849 that's somehow older than Louis Vuitton, yet almost nobody's heard of them. Number 6. Moynat, the Forgotten, 1849 trunk maker. Founded in Paris in 1849, Moynat is genuinely older than Louis Vuitton by several years, yet remains almost completely unknown to the general public and even most luxury consumers. They create handmade trunks and handbags in such deliberately limited quantities that waiting lists for certain popular pieces regularly exceed 2 full years. The brand absolutely refuses to advertise anywhere, doesn't chase influencer partnerships or celebrity endorsements, and maintains virtually no social media presence. That deliberate restraint and refusal to pursue visibility is precisely what attracts ultra-wealthy clients who genuinely value exclusivity and privacy over being seen with recognizable brands. Each Moynat trunk is still constructed using authentic 19th century techniques by master craftsmen working in their historic Parisian atelier, with prices starting in the 5 figures for standard sizes and climbing dramatically for bespoke commissioned pieces featuring custom dimensions or special materials. This is luxury designed for people who view their luggage as genuine heirloom investments that will last generations rather than disposable fashion accessories replaced every few seasons. When you travel with Moynat trunks, you're quietly signaling that you understand luxury history and heritage beyond whatever's currently trending on social media, and that you genuinely value artisanal craftsmanship that will outlast you and potentially get passed down to your children. The brand's obscurity is itself the appeal. Luxury so refined and exclusive that most people have never heard of it despite its century-plus heritage. And now, we're entering the ultra-exclusive top 5 category. But before we move forward, here's an announcement for you. We're offering exclusive memberships for our loyal subscribers, which include early access to exclusive content, loyalty badges in your name, and official shoutouts in our videos. Join Black Status as a channel member right now and become part of the inner circle. Let's build this community together. See you on the inside. Number 5. Brioni. $30,000 suits. Requiring a decade of training, Brioni represents Italian power dressing executed at its absolute highest level of quality and refinement. A single Brioni suit requires 220 individual construction steps and over 6,000 precise hand stitches to complete, and the tailors who make them train intensively for over a full decade before they're allowed to create one solo without supervision. Ready-to-wear Brioni pieces start around $7,000 off the rack, while fully bespoke tailoring begins at $30,000 and climbs significantly based on fabric selections and customization requests. World leaders, Fortune 500 CEOs, and Hollywood legends rely on Brioni when they need quiet confidence that broadcasts power and authority without saying a single word. Barack Obama wore Brioni suits throughout his presidency, and the brand's appeal is rooted exactly in its deliberate restraint. No flashy contrasting linings, no visible logos anywhere, no unnecessary details. Just absolutely impeccable Italian tailoring that makes you look commanding and authoritative in literally any room you enter. This is what you wear when you need to simultaneously project authority and sophistication, whether you're closing a billion-dollar acquisition deal or attending a formal state dinner with foreign dignitaries. The suit itself does all the talking necessary. The cut, the drape, the way it moves with your body all communicate power and success without requiring any verbal explanation or visible branding. $30,000 suits requiring 220 construction steps. That's meticulous Italian precision. But wait, there are luxury skis that cost $10,000 and take 30 hours to hand build? Number 4. Zai skis, $10,000. Carbon fiber masterpieces. Yes, we're talking about skis, but these are absolutely not ordinary recreational equipment. Zai creates Swiss-crafted skis from advanced carbon fiber, natural stone, and premium rubber, with each individual pair costing over $10,000 and requiring more than 30 hours of meticulous hand construction. These are seen exclusively on the elite slopes of Gstaad, St. Moritz, Courchevel, and Aspen, signaling winter luxury at its absolute finest level. They're designed for ultra-wealthy individuals who treat skiing as a complete lifestyle rather than just a hobby or vacation activity, and who need equipment that properly matches their six-figure ski chalets and private helicopter mountain access. Each pair of Zai skis is essentially custom-made with the owner's specific weight, personal skiing style, and preferred terrain conditions all carefully factored into the construction process. This isn't mass production. This is genuine artisan ski making for people who literally helicopter to remote mountain peaks. When you show up on the slopes carrying Zai skis, everyone else on the mountain immediately knows you're operating at a completely different economic level than people renting equipment from the lodge. That visual separation is entirely the point. Luxury equipment that signals status before you even start skiing. Honestly, that's peak winter extravagance. But this next brand literally invented the modern tuxedo for European royalty. Number 3. Henry Poole & Co. The 1806. Tailor that created the tuxedo. Henry Poole & Company holds the distinction of being the original Savile Row tailor, founded in London in 1806, and famous throughout history for inventing the modern tuxedo, specifically for the Prince of Wales. This isn't just another luxury tailor. This is literally where modern formal wear originated. For established old money families, owning just one Henry Poole suit isn't the goal or the status marker. The real prestige is maintaining a family pattern book that gets carefully updated across multiple generations, with fathers, sons, and grandsons all having their precise measurements on file, dating back decades or even full centuries. This isn't fashion that changes with seasonal trends or celebrity influence. This is heritage that genuinely compounds over time. When you commission a Henry Poole suit, you're actively participating in a tailoring tradition that's older than the United States itself and has dressed generations of European royalty and British aristocracy. The ultimate luxury is walking into their historic Savile Row location and having them pull your grandfather's original pattern book to reference his specific preferences and body adjustments. That continuity across generations is genuinely impossible to buy if your family doesn't have the established relationship history. Now imagine spending $75,000 on a bathtub handcrafted by master silversmiths. That's where our next brand comes in. Number 2. Christofle, the $75,000 bathtub requiring months of silver work. Christofle is famous primarily for creating exceptional silverware and serving pieces, but their absolute most exclusive offerings belong to the Journe Diddy collection, which includes a fully handcrafted silver-plated copper bathtub costing approximately $75,000. It takes multiple months for master silversmiths to complete a single bathtub, hand-hammering and meticulously engraving every visible surface. Serious collectors often purchase smaller Christofle pieces first, serving trays, elaborate candlesticks, decorative bowls, just to establish relationships and qualify for the opportunity to eventually commission something from the ultra-exclusive Journe Diddy collection. This represents refined extravagance at a level most people genuinely cannot comprehend, spending the equivalent price of a luxury Mercedes on a bathtub that's essentially functional art. But for the ultra-wealthy, it's about owning something that required months of master craftsmanship and exists nowhere else on Earth. When you're bathing in a $75,000 Christofle silver-plated tub, you're experiencing luxury that transcends any practical utility entirely. It's pure status and appreciation for artisanal craftsmanship. But as wild as Christofle might be, the #1 brand on our list is so exclusive that they conduct invitation-only events at a private Tuscan estate where guests spend 6 figures just to shop. Number 1. Stefano Ricci, $15,000. Ties and 6-figure Tuscan. Estate experiences. At number 1 is Stefano Ricci, Florence's most extravagant men's luxury house, where standard ties start at $250 but extremely limited edition pieces, woven with actual gold thread or embedded precious stones reach $15,000 or more per tie. But here's what elevates Ricci to the absolute top of this list. Their most prestigious and exclusive experience is invitation-only events held at Ricci's private Tuscan estate, where carefully selected clients spend 6 figures to participate in multi-day experiences including private hunts, elaborate feasts, and exclusive shopping access to unreleased pieces that will never reach any retail stores. This is luxury designed for people who live so far beyond the public spotlight that they need experiences money alone genuinely can't buy. You need personal invitations based on established relationships and demonstrated spending history. The estate events include falconry demonstrations, wine tastings from private centuries-old cellars, and access to one-of-a-kind garments designed specifically for event attendees. Stefano Ricci represents the absolute peak of exclusivity, where the actual product itself becomes almost secondary to the experience and access it represents. When you own Ricci pieces from the private estate collection, you're signaling membership in an ultra-exclusive club that doesn't advertise anywhere and doesn't accept applications from outsiders. This is luxury that speaks so quietly that only your actual peers recognize it, and that separation is exactly the entire point. And that a wrap on 1515, brands representing the highest possible form of exclusivity. The Black ultra-rich don't need their brands to announce them. They choose pieces only their peers recognize. If this glimpse into how Black billionaires actually spend changed how you think about real wealth, smash that like button and subscribe to Black Status for more such interesting videos. Drop a comment telling me which brand shocked you most and which one you'd buy if money were no object. Catch you in the next one.